I'm Don, welcome to my channel. This channel is supported by all these awesome brands. Also, special thanks to Army Painter for making this video possible. Today we'll put bottle cappers to my speed paints. A ton of thanks to Illusion Effects for my bottle cappers. I've been using the speed paints from Army Painter for a while now, and in this video I'll share with you my top tips when it comes to using the speed paints. Speed paints are awesome. I used to not like washes and I tend to use inks, but speed paints, when I tried them, I really enjoyed them. I have also been using the Warpaints Fanatic, the new Warpaints Fanatic, for a while now, for a little more than a month. And to this day, I'm still I can't decide which I like better, Speedpaints 2.0 or Warpaints Fanatic. I think the main reason for being undecided which is king between Warpaints Fanatic and Speedpaints 2.0 is that both these paints are very different. Speedpaints, unlike similar products from other brands, are a true one-coat solution, at least for me. Using speed paints for my base colors is super quick, and it kind of gives me a quick base color before I do the layering. If you're a long-time follower or subscriber to my channel, you'll know that I love mediums, so I love speed paint medium. Using speed paint medium gives me a little bit more control than just using water with my speed paints. Of course, water will work with speed paints. However, much like any other paint, when you add water, the paints becomes very runny. So, I highly recommend that you try speed paint mediums when thinning down your speed paints. The medium won't make your speed paints too runny, it will add a little bit of transparency, and it ensures you a very nice matte finish. Now let's talk about my top tips when it comes to speed paints. If you're new to speed paints or trying to get comfortable with speed paints, think of them as a heavy wash. So similar to washes, but heavier. They tend to glaze or tint the surface, the raised areas of the miniature, and then also gives you nice contrast by settling down in the recesses and details. Also make sure to let cure your primer before you apply speed paints. Especially if you're not using Army Painter primers, you may want to make sure that the primer is cured before you apply speed paints. Or else, you might produce some cracking or orange peeling. Speed paints renders very well over textured surfaces. Cloaks and similar areas or surfaces that doesn't have textures is kinda tricky to use with speed paints. So surfaces like cloak and other similar surfaces that are very flat and doesn't have texture, you might as well just use Warpaints Fanatic. It's kinda difficult to produce a nice finish over surfaces that has no details. Always let speed paints air dry. You let it dry for maybe a minute and let it do its thing. The speed paint while it's drying will go to the recesses, create more contrast, and produce a nicer finish. You may want to apply 2 thin coats of speed paints, especially for the darker colors, but make sure that you let dry in between coats. You may apply the first coat unthinned, then you may apply a thinned second coat for a really nice finish. Now, before our final thoughts, I would like to thank all of you guys, my viewers. The channel is growing, and of course, my patrons. And special thanks to Army Painter for making this video possible. Now for my fab speed paint shades. I have the complete set of Speedpaints 2.0 and they have a ton of beautiful colors. There are a lot of really nice browns, dark browns, red browns, but I prefer purples and violets and even dark blue for my shades. Purple shades simply add more color contrast to my painting with very little effort. However, for lighter colors or lighter base colors, I really love the palette bone. Thinned and unthinned palette bone is super nice over light colored surfaces. Now for Warpaint's Fanatic washes, my fave is this dark blue tone and of course the violet or purple tone. So similar to the Speedpaints, although a little bit more subtle, basically these washes are like thinner or less opaque versions of the Speedpaint purples. Washes and Speedpaints, if you don't allow them to settle on crevices, they will act as glaze paints. Just make sure that after loading your brush with Speedpaints or wash, you wick it down before you apply it as a glaze. You do not want like a brush loaded with paints when you're doing glazing. Now, Speedpaint metallics are different. They really look good if you apply them in a heavy coat. Speedpaint metallics render so well even on like plain surfaces that doesn't have much texture. Although of course similar to regular Speedpaints, the metallics renders extra well over textured surfaces. One heavy coat is fine, but of course, a couple of thin coats or a couple of medium heavy coats are really nice with the Speedpaints metallics. Now back to the bottle cappers. And this was a bit of work. I spent like almost the whole day yesterday doing or working with these cappers. But as you can see, I think it's well worth it. Like the time spent of working on these cappers makes me like really see the differences of all these beautiful speed paint colors. So again, a ton of thanks to Illusion Effects for these cappers, especially those couple of cappers that has my logo. That's it, Pansit. I hope you like this video. Do like, subscribe, and all that stuff. And then, until my next video, guys. Bye! If you like this video, do check out these other speed paint videos.